Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV and online content, and somehow manage to do it without tweeting anything racist or bigoted and getting cancelled. Yet. Joining me today, Nicholas Pryor.
Hello.
And Dylan Blight.
Why did you say yet?
I don't want to...
Because we know what you say behind closed doors, Dylan.
I just want to
It's
say...
only a matter of time before you say it on a show.
Yeah.
Secretly, the Explosion Network's SJW is, in fact, a major right-wing racist.
I mean, no one should suspect it. Yeah. I just don't want to be found out later, like a gotcha article or something. Just leave it open-ended.
I don't want to be... We're not racist.
It's concerning that
Or
people have to say that. So, since we recorded last, we've seen Solo. If you haven't seen our... well, me and Dylan have anyway. If you haven't seen our review discussion, or the episode 3 of Alderaan Explosion, you can find it at explosionnetwork.com or twitch.tv/explosionnetwork or youtube.com/explosionnetwork. Dylan, you actually went and saw it again this week, didn't you?
Saw it yesterday again.
How'd you feel seeing it a second time?
Same. I still walked out and I was like, I described it like when I walked out with my friend Sam. He loved it. I think he liked it more than episode 8. He was absolutely in love with it. So
That's not hard.
but it's good considering everyone, of course, wasn't positive going into this movie. Most people weren't amped up. And the other weird thing I noticed was there was more people. My cinema was nearly full.
Yeah?
On a Tuesday night at 6 p.m., which, 2 weeks after release, are we now? Or
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. And the cinema had more people in it than release week, which I think is because the movie, even though it didn't do great, and the whole box office thing everyone's talking about, of course. Blah,
We'll
blah,
get into that later.
It didn't bomb. It did make as much as any other Star Wars movie. There's a difference between bombing and not making 150, 160 million.
Well,
110 million isn't a bomb.
It depends on what Disney think of it. We might not think it's a bomb, but they might.
Yeah. We'll get into that later in the news section.
But I think it's just... It was interesting to see more people in the cinema, but probably because it's getting good word of mouth, I feel.
Yeah, people were waiting to see it. To see if it was
people were waiting
good.
to see what people thought before they're popping in to see it, yeah. And I still just describe it as it's a really good episode of Rebels or Clone Wars. Like, it's just a big budget spin-off, 7 out of 10, 7.5, something like that Star Wars movie. It's fun. You go in, you have a good time, you leave.
All right.
It's fine.
And since the last episode which you went on, you also said saw Deadpool. Do you want to give us your impressions?
Yeah.
He agrees with me.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Nick talked about this after Bevanworld yesterday for a bit, and
we didn't record it, so you couldn't put it in, Ash.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree on most of Nick's points. I mean, I don't hate the movie. It's fine. It was an enjoyable time at the cinema, but to me, maybe a 6.5 on the low end. Like, it's somewhere around that if you want to chuck a score on it. A lot of the jokes fell flat. People in the cinema are laughing, and I'm just like, meh. A lot of the jokes felt rehashed material from the first movie that just, like the whole credit sequence stuff, like, and that's only 10, 15 minutes in, and I'm like, okay, so we're doing this joke again. Yeah, you're like a wow, crazy movie. Like, can't believe you're doing it. You're a wacky Deadpool character. I'm like, you need
To be fair, I, as a fan of James Bond, I quite enjoyed the opening credits.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the jokes, I feel like it was just a joke dragged out for too long. And I'm not going to say the spoiler that you said when I was listening to the previous episode on the fucking plane on my way back from Brisbane, but that spoiler part that you talked about goes for way too long.
What, where he's dying?
My fucking God.
I'm going to bleep that out.
I mean, Ash can remember to bleep it this time. I don't know. It's up to him. But yeah, so some of the jokes I did laugh at though, but most of all I just thought the story was utter garbage. Like, I did not feel that the romance and the way they try and make you feel for his character was at all earned or believable, which
Or
made
faithful
the
to
movie
the character either.
Yeah, so it's whatever. I mean, it's a fun time at the cinema. I'm not rushing out to see it again.
No.
And I probably won't rush out to watch it when it releases on home video at all.
Maybe
So,
if it pops up on Netflix.
whatever. Yeah. I feel it's very much how I feel about the first movie as well. I wasn't a huge fan of the first movie either, so.
Yeah.
I was. I enjoyed it less than the first movie.
Something I want to talk to you about, Nick, is Evil Genius. I believe you watched all 4 episodes of that one. The collar bomber case.
Oh, yeah, the bipolar mental chick. Yeah,
Would you? For people who don't know, there was a case in America where a person robbed a bank while wearing a bomb.
yeah.
And then
And a cane that was also a shotgun.
a cane, also a shotgun. And then he stopped police, and the bomb went off. And then there was a massive conspiracy about it.
Yep.
About how it happened and everything. And they made this documentary, Evil Genius, which I thought was pretty good. I found it enthralling. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I believe I gave it an 8.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best thing about it was only 4 episodes, because I think if they tried to drag it out any longer, it would have been just, you wouldn't have wanted to watch it.
No. Yeah, I think it was well paced and the right amount of time. And I think it helps that there was interesting characters, like from a storytelling point, even though it's like a real life thing, there were people you would were interested in because they were like interested in people, even though they're homicidal maniacs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of it was like, you couldn't believe that a person would be capable of that.
Yeah.
Like, mindless violence happens all the time, to be that methodical and just,
And so callous that Marjorie.
and the fact it didn't even happen that long ago either.
No, it was
Really,
maybe
relatively.
a decade.
2003, I believe it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one point I will mention, I don't know if you felt the same, but I thought it was pretty in poor taste that they showed the footage of the actual bomb going off.
And that's a completely different argument. You can have, like, do you want to subject people to the horrors of, like, what actually happened? Or are you trying to, like, these days you can go on the internet and, like, even on Facebook, you can be scrolling through it and there would be a graphically violent, gory picture that you just scroll past. And, like, in this day and age, I don't think it's as shocking as what it once would have been.
No, I think it's just more a respect thing. Like, respect for the person who
I think showing
died.
it also made you invested in them finding them as well.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. But that Marjorie lady, she's going to haunt my nightmares for a while. That in the title sequence where they do that face...
where it
change.
phases from young to old.
Yeah. And she's... The fact that, like, at her trial...
The fact that people thought that she was attractive when she was young, that's the most unbelievable thing.
I thought that she was okay. But that she was so callous, like...
I heard she's single, Ash.
No, she's dead. So,
Oh, is she?
Yeah, they said...
Technically, she's single.
Credits. That's why...
Technically, we're all single in death.
Yeah, because it's until death do us part. Unless you change your vow to change that.
No,
the cheapest divorce you can get.
Oh, God. No, the thing... It was scary that at her trial, her speaking at her trial, like, people felt that was...
Yeah, the fact that
helping
how
her case.
manipulative she was.
Yeah. That someone that manipulative is... People that manipulative out there doing that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Scary. So I watched a bunch of stuff this week because I've got nothing else to do. I watched the Toys That Make Us series. Have you guys seen that?
I've
Put it on
heard
my
about
list
it.
the other day.
Yeah.
Is that
So
where the
that's-
first one's about Lego or Barbie or something like that?
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
did like half a season with like He-Man and G.I. Joe and Star Wars, I think it was.
Yep.
Something else. Yeah, it's really interesting. They pretty much just tell you the history of each of these toys and how they got started and the trials and tribulations. I would recommend the He-Man, the Masters of the Universe one. That's very interesting. because there was this huge bubble, and then it burst, and then it sort of become
Yeah,
irrelevant.
people don't want to buy toys of oiled up muscle men and barely anything.
Not anymore.
From Skeletor.
Yeah, Skeletor. He's awesome. He's pretty scary. But yeah, to see the reasoning behind why the bubble sort of burst is also pretty interesting. Like they couldn't meet the demands of the original toys because they kept inventing new ones to sell, and then they
Trying
never
to
had the
fix what
original
ain't
ones
broke.
in stock. So people couldn't get into it. The Barbie one is also interesting because apparently Barbie is based on like I think it's Danish, like sex toy or something
interesting.
along those like a sex doll, like a Lady of the Night cartoon character is the origins of that. So yeah, check out the toys that made us. Learn more about Star Wars and Star Trek and stuff. It's interesting.
I'm just anxious to watch it for the Star Wars episode.
Yeah, the Star Wars episode is pretty good. Yeah,
Fake fan, you would have already
the-
watched it already.
the trials and
Yeah,
tribulations.
no.
Yeah,
I'm a fake gamer girl. We all know.
Your game is clogging up my internet.
no, it's the streamers who are really doing it. So, also watched Bo Burnham's Make Happy comedy special. It's been a long time coming. I think it came out in 2016. I would highly recommend it. I've been listening to his comedy CDs pretty much ever since, or watching YouTube videos of him. It's pretty fantastic. He's a musical comedian, but his songs are pretty interesting and got some quirky stuff. He's also got a free special on YouTube, on his YouTube channel, called What, if you want to check that out, if you don't have Netflix.
Everyone has Netflix.
I don't know. Maybe some people don't.
By the way, I got YouTube Red the other day.
Yeah?
Since you spent 20 minutes talking about it.
Yeah? What are your
I haven't
impressions?
watched anything on it. I just got sick of ads.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
Yeah,
nice
well, there was two steps. There was the ads always annoy me, but that's never been enough for me to want to pay it. But I'm always like, if there's something to push me over the edge, I'll get it. The second thing was I was watching a video on YouTube, a podcast, and it's like a Collider one, if anyone ever watches Collider stuff. And I much prefer watching this stuff in video form than audio form because it's just, they put up pictures, what they're talking about and all that sort of stuff, and it's just visually better. And I was like, I want to finish watching the last 20 minutes at work tonight when it's quiet. So I got YouTube Red just so I could download it. That was the push.
Had they already implemented the 2-tier pricing structure?
It was $15, $14.95. That's all it said. So,
Okay, yeah.
and the first month free or whatever. So,
Still coming, I think. Yeah. Sorry,
There you
Nick. Google
side
Music
note,
is still
Well-
going to
she
die.
spent so long talking about it last time.
Well, I've been using YouTube Music as opposed to Google Play Music, and like functionality, it's all right. Like it's almost the same functionality, but now the algorithms of the music you listen to are just really weird. Because I normally do song radios where you click a song and then they just start playing songs similar to it. And it was like one Metallica, and then like 10 songs down the line, I was listening to Nat King Cole.
Yeah,
Sure.
It needs to learn, Nick. You need to help it
Why
learn.
don't they use... They've already got my listening user history data at Google Play. Why don't they just transfer it over?
That would be a... I don't know.
Because Google uses your data for every other fucking thing they do.
No, that's Facebook.
No, Google does it too.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, that's probably
But
true.
they only do it internally. They don't sell it to
Yeah.
other people that we know of.
Okay. Also watched Trigun. I don't know if you guys have heard of this anime. It just dropped
That's an
on...
anime thing.
It's like an old anime. But it came out on Netflix with a bunch of other animes. I don't know what the story is, but they
You
just
weeaboo.
dropped a whole bunch of old animes on the service. Also, Your Name is on Netflix right now, which you should all watch.
Is it?
Yes.
What's it about?
It might be a future. What do you want to watch? But yeah, Trigun. I've heard of this series like ages ago. It's like a post-apocalyptic western, I guess, sort
He's
of.
got a gun with 3 barrels, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's pretty big. His gun is huge. Yeah, and I found it's good. I enjoyed it. I watched all 26 episodes in like 3 days. So
Yes,
read
I saw.
into
I
that
looked
what
on
you
your-
will.
I looked on your track today and was like, okay,
Yeah.
Trigon it is.
The thing I appreciate about like there has to be certain animes, and the animes I get into, it has to have a clear start and end point. Like,
Yeah.
I can't watch the ones that go for fucking 600 episodes.
Bleach,
Absolutely ridiculous.
One Piece,
Yeah.
Naruto.
Naruto. Or like
Naruto, Boruto, Pokemon,
Dragon Ball even to
Yu-Gi-Oh,
an extent.
Dragon Ball, GT, AT, BT, Z,
Super.
Yeah.
I'll give them one thing. They really know how to kick a dead horse.
They like money. And finally, I want to just touch on a couple of finales. Obviously, you weren't here last time we talked, Dylan. You saw the Riverdale finale. How did you feel about that?
I much preferred the first half of the season, and
Yeah.
I would have preferred them to, slight spoilers, to wrap up the whole Veronica's dad, Lodge, whatever his first name is, I forget, Mr. Lodge.
Herman?
His
No,
whole...
Hiram.
Herman? Yeah, whatever.
Hiram.
Hyman, that's it. Hyman. I would have preferred the Hyman Lodge / mafia storyline to have wrapped up by the end of the season and got onto something different season 3, but they've pretty much just left it like it's still going to be continuing
They've
into
doubled
season
down.
3. They've doubled down. But my hope is this, because season 2 was kind of, even though there was a big overarching story, there was like the first half was all very kind of focused on the hood killer, whatever they
Black
call
Hood.
it.
Red
the Black
Hood.
Hood. And then the second season, the second half of the season, although it got back to the Black Hood kind of towards the end, it was very much focused on this whole mafia weird storyline thing. So I'm hoping that season 3, they wrap up the mafia shit in the first half and then kind of get onto something new in the second half of the season. But I mean, it was fine. It was like, it wasn't a great finale. I wasn't utterly impressed. I didn't hate it. There's been worse finales. But I wish that hadn't have been the setup. I wasn't a big fan of the cliffhanger moment. I know there's got to be one, but I was like, okay, yeah, Archie, gonna get locked up, are we? Okay, no.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
When are they
Give me
going to do
more
an
excited
Archie
for
cross Punisher crossover?
Never, hopefully. The interesting thing will be, the interesting thing next year will be, are they going to do a Sabrina Archie crossover?
Of
episode?
course
The
Probably
answer should
not.
be, of course they will.
It's the
They
CW.
should. They should. They won't.
There's a chance.
Find
If
out.
they don't, they're failing.
I particularly enjoyed a joke that I saw, judging like from what I know about Stacey's viewing of it. That I think it was like the mate asked its assistant, "What's going on? What have I got on today?" And like she goes, "Like you have every day. You have 4 meetings with the town teenagers."
It's true.
Yeah. Town's run by teenagers. What more do you want?
Yeah,
There's like
pretty
4
much.
adults.
It's like a lot of sitcoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also watched the Flash finale for this season. This season's been kind of not as good as the last couple of seasons. But
You wonder why I stopped watching it.
yeah. I'm
Make
keen
an argument for me.
No. I enjoyed the Thinker. I thought he was a good villain. I enjoyed
Here's my problem.
Ralph Dibny.
If you want to talk about the DC shows for just a hot second.
Yep.
So Batwoman's in next season, right?
Yep.
Of Arrow.
They announced he's
So
going to be in the
goes the news.
crossover. Yeah.
Yeah. So she.
Yeah.
Batwoman.
She.
Yeah.
The
They
movie
announced so
Batwoman?
Batwoman,
Oh, no, it's
Hey?
Batgirl they're doing.
Batwoman's different.
Yeah.
Different character.
grown up Batgirl.
Batwoman, cool. I'm a big fan of all the Bat family. Batwoman's like a highly underused, underutilized character. She's been in one animated feature crossover, like one of their films for like a bit part. She's been a big part of the comics since they did the Rebirth thing. She's actually just like the main character in Detective Comics at the moment.
Yep.
Like she's apart from Batman, I suppose. Great character. So that kind of has me going, oh fuck. Now I have to watch that. I have to watch that because it's Batwoman. But
Yeah.
now it's like, do I need to watch anything up to that point, or do I just literally dive in for the crossover event and just attempt to watch it just for her?
I guess you could just
Like,
read
I'm
recaps if you want to catch
I'll
up.
have to, because I'm not going back and watching Arrow and Flash and whatever else. It's done. It's over. It's over between us. She's in the past, Ash.
No, I always have hope
Moving on.
it can pick up. Also want to talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine had its finale after it was revived. Jake and Amy got married. It was great. I watched it. I laughed. I cried. It was good.
Really?
No, I didn't cry, but I
Was it
laughed.
that emotional in that
No,
show?
it was just it was joyful. So that's what you need in the world. So moving on to news, going away from joyful, going from the joke at the start of the show, Roseanne, ABC's #1 comedy, cancelled after Roseanne tweeted a racist tweet about Valerie Jarrett, a former aide to Barack Obama. She blamed it on the consumption of Ambien, and yeah. I think the most surprising thing about this story is it pretty much they cancelled the show after like 24 hours, which is
I don't think they had an option.
it was their #1 show.
Yeah.
I mean, to make that decision so
But
quickly is pretty ballsy.
If you dig into the grounds of this story,
Yeah.
everyone was praising ABC, Disney, whoever, going, "Good job, you did that. It's great to see you doing such a great job at chucking these people out. Like, this is what we need to be doing going forward." If you look through, they've let so many people say things or do things in the past couple of years that they've just let fold over and over and over. And they got shit for it. You can find on Twitter, like, people, of course, going off tweeting, like, "You should fucking fire this person because of what they said," over and over and over. And there's even people that were retracting every time someone was praising the head of ABC or whatever the woman's name is that fired her, praising her. There was people in the comments backtracking, going, "Well, why didn't you fucking do anything about this person who said something like straight out just racist or sexist like only 6 months ago?" And blah blah blah. So I think they just kind of had to. Eventually, this Jenga table was going to fall over if they didn't do something. And the Roseanne, of course. She said a million fucked up things in the past.
Yeah,
so it's like, how many times can you
it wasn't
strike
just the
match
racist
before?
thing. She was bringing up a bunch of conspiracy crap.
Yeah.
So
Alex
She was
Jones.
a Nazi from all this time, but she was born before the... I mean, I read it all and it was ridiculous. The Earth's flat. You know, it was that kind of nonsense, basically.
what did you think, Nick?
I don't care because I don't watch that show.
Yeah, that's true. What'd you think, Nick? What were your impressions? Okay. Do you think this, like... The thing is, what does ABC get out of this, I guess? They get a bunch of goodwill now.
Good press.
Good press now, but is it going to help them come new season next year? No. They've just lost them.
Well, it doesn't help them money-wise,
No.
but... I mean, if it's their biggest show, it's obviously financially a stupid move. But
Yeah.
that what often is good financially and what's often good for is often good press is like things that counteract each other. You know, it's like the two different departments of the same building often have to go head to head against each other to get the results they want because they never work together. So, do they get? Is this a good financial move? No. Is it good? Is it good for their press going forward? Yes. What do they get out of that going forward? I don't know. Maybe an easier free pass on the next thing they fuck up or the next shit show. I don't know.
I think...
No, the internet doesn't remember.
That's probably.
There is talk of a spin-off show with the kids, I guess, that's in the works, possibly. I think ABC was open to it as long as Roseanne isn't attached at all. So, if you're a Roseanne...
Also,
Yeah?
side note,
Yeah.
everyone, of course, going on about, like, John Goodman lost his job, all these actors and all that sort of stuff. Like, you should have just got rid of her. That's not how it would have worked.
They should have recast her. That would have been awesome.
It's the show's too tied to her to recast. That's not going to work. Also, John Goodman isn't struggling for fucking work.
Yeah.
Just as a note, like I know it's like he had a contract, he technically lost his job, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He's not struggling.
He's going to be all right. He's going to land on his feet,
He's
I
going to
think.
be okay. You don't need to keep yelling on Twitter about fucking John Goodman. The person who was bringing Roseanne her coffee, that guy lost his job or girl.
All the writers, all the...
I'm sure they'll pick it up, but they're a bit more important than John Goodman at this stage, you know? Like,
Yeah, they've got a bit more of a struggle than John Goodman.
yeah. Well, John Goodman's fine.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Solo bombing, I guess. From what I can pick up, it's only made about 264 million worldwide at the moment, which is well short of what they were hoping for or expecting. There was an analyst report that broke down some of the different reasons they reckon. Well, the one key reason they think that this movie failed, and that is the marketing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Trailers were garbage.
So it points out that the Rogue One teaser came out 247 days before the film, and featured Felicity Jones as a star heavily, whereas the Solo trailer came out 108 days before release, and had like 10 seconds of screen time of Alden Ehrenreich. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Why is Solo failing?
I
People
think
don't want to see it.
no.
Yeah.
I think the movie would be in pluses, would be fine, and the story, the money they've made so far would be enough without the reshoots. So this all comes back to the reshoots. They reshot 70 to 80% of the film. If you look at the original budget of 110 million or something, you know, whatever, something like that, and then you work out what 70 to 80% of that roughly would have been, and then at the moment the story is they're apparently losing 50 to 80 million. That's apparently what Disney's losing on it. That kind of adds up or gets close to probably the amount of money they spent on the reshoots. So I think without the reshoots, they're not making heaps of money off this, but they're making
a profit,
just above positive ground. Like, I think they would be okay without the reshoots. However, they made the decision to do the reshoots as heavily as they did, and they knew the amount of money it was going to cost them. So I think that if they're staring at the amount of money that they're making off this and they're taking the reshoots into account, they know that they're looking at it going, these figures kind of make sense given what we actually spent on the movie. Because they would have spent more on this than Rogue One, I reckon. Yep. By the time they did all the thing, I don't reckon they would have spent as much as Episode 8, but it'd be getting close to it. And then, so the budget for the film was like $200 and whatever dollars. They would have spent like another $100 million on marketing because that's like the average for a film like this, and they didn't even market it correctly. It's how they use the money wrong. I think it all comes back to the reshoots. Then the second worst thing they did was the marketing was not done right, but the marketing being pushed out so far was also again because of the reshoots and how far the film was behind and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Do you think they should have pushed it?
So I think they were just fucked.
Do you think they should have pushed it?
They should have just pushed it. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. They push it to December, the movie does a lot better.
Yeah. Nick, do you have any interest in seeing this film now? Or are you going to?
Not at the cinema, but I will probably see it when it comes out on home cinema. Home DVD or whatever. Video.
And you don't believe
VOD.
You don't believe it's a case of Star Wars fatigue?
No, I don't think it's a case of Star Wars fatigue. I think it's a case of, like, you go Reddit and you see numerous posts of people saying they don't want this story and they don't want to see it.
Okay. Next question. Do you think this affects possible plans for a sequel? Do they go ahead? They pretty much set it up for a sequel. Will they do a sequel?
It would have an effect.
Yes.
It can't not have an effect.
They're definitely going to do it, Dylan.
Yep. I reckon they will.
Yeah.
I reckon it's picking up. I reckon it's not doing as bad as everyone's acting. I think the following weeks after the opening box office week, it didn't take that huge dive. Like it
didn't take as big a dive as the last couple of movies. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of still just a thing that's happening. And then we got to take into account that maybe a lot of people, by the time this movie comes out on Blu-ray or VOD or whatever you want to call it, they watch it and they're like, actually, I was kind of wrong. It's not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'll give it a chance, and they get a bit more good press when the Blu-ray comes out, and they get to more people are like, Alden's actually not terrible as Han. I thought he was going to be bad. Like, I couldn't think anyone could replace Harrison Ford, but this guy's actually pretty good. So, and I think sometimes you just need to be brave and make the sequels, even though, especially for movies like this, because it's just always going to be weird.
Would you bring back Ron Howard for a sequel, or would you find somebody else? That's an interesting.
Ron Howard was like the perfect director for this movie because it is. I want someone to come in and just fix this up, and that's a skill and praise to him for one thing, because that is a skill to come in and patchwork this together and just pick up a product that fast, that quickly, and put out this product. And this doesn't look anywhere near as bad as, Justice League, of course. You can see the reshoots all over that and all the changes, different changes, directors. This movie, you can't see it. So Ron Howard did a fine job with it. And he could come in and probably deliver another 7 out of 10. But if they was going to do a sequel, I think you have to hire someone to make it that big product.
Yeah.
Bit better than just a movie. Because he made a movie, but it's nothing special. He did the job fine. But
I'd be interested to see if like toy sales or something like that would affect. Because I'm sure there's like 1 billion people buying Lando figures black figures like you have. Yeah.
Oh. Lando. Well, it's like the Lando is probably the reason people are watching this movie anyway at this stage. And yeah, even when I walked out of the cinema again last night, the first words out of Sam's mouth was, "Fuck, I want a Lando movie." Which I agree. And also, because I'd already seen the movie, I knew how to perfectly time my toilet break, and I took it when Lando wasn't going to be on screen. Because all I want to do is see all the Lando scenes, because Donald Glover he's amazing in this movie. He just embodies Lando. And there is that one scene at the end of the movie where the last scene they're in together, and that was Sam's first thing. He said that scene is like spot on. Just seems like Harrison Ford, like Han Solo with Lando. I'm like, yeah, it's like Empire, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, it was great. Like everything they said, the way they acted, and I was like, yeah, they did a lot better job than people are giving credit for. I feel at times.
All right. Speaking of Donald Glover, he is apparently on the short list of actors to play Willy Wonka in an origin story. So earlier this year, Paul King, the director of Paddington and Paddington 2, was hired to direct a Willy Wonka origin film. And Donald Glover, Ryan Gosling, and Ezra Miller are the lead, on the shortlist to play Willy Wonka. What are your thoughts? Good, bad? I think it'd be interesting.
I mean, I'm not against it. It's just one of those weird things. I mean,
yeah.
I hate the word origin movie when you're talking about this.
Prequel.
Why couldn't they just call it just call it a Willy Wonka movie, and then when it comes out for trailer, you're like, oh, it's set before he has the factory. I just don't like them being like, it's an origin story of the fucking character Willy Wonka that we all knew growing up and loving.
Well, you just more with that character. That's just a selling thing more than. That's not going to how they're going to pitch it when it comes out.
I'm not against them doing more of that character. Like, have you read the books? Because I've even read the sequel one when they go up into fucking space or wherever in the glass elevator and all sorts of weird stuff like that. So it's a weird character. He's got all the stuff that you gather from either of the films, the original or the Tim Burton one. It's got weird backstory. Yeah. I'm not against it. I mean, I don't like the Tim Burton one much. I love the original. But I would love for this one to actually be a musical again. Fuck yes. Give me that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Nick, do you want to see
whatever.
Do you want to see Willy Wonka discovering Oompa Loompas?
Nope.
Okay. So those three guys are pretty different. Who would you want to see play Willy Wonka?
No, the only person that I could take is Glover. The rest,
well,
no.
Obviously right now it's hard not to say Donald Glover. I think Ryan Gosling would do a pretty good job, but yeah.
Nah.
Nick? Or do you want them to reanimate the corpse of Gene Wilder? Yep.
Remember when they were going to bring Gene Wilder back in to play what's his face in Ready Player 2? That was what the story was.
Ready Player 2.
Remember that? Ready Player 1, sorry. when they was doing Ready Player 1, Steven Spielberg was trying to, when he was like years and years ago when he first got on board with the project, he was talking about bringing Gene Wilder out of retirement to play the old dude who, the main dude. Because Ready Player 1 is basically Willy Wonka, but with gaming as the thing, and they've got to find the keys and the candy, and you win the chocolate factory that is the digital fucking place. So they was trying to bring him out to do that character.
That would have been interesting. That makes sense.
Would have been.
So apparently, they are Jared Leto-led Joker movie is in the works.
No.
While they're still doing the Todd Phillips Joaquin Phoenix film. So there's going to be 2 separate Joker movies. What is Warner Brothers doing?
They're trying to cash in the worst way possible.
Yeah. So apparently Warner Brothers and DC are developing a new Origins banner that's separate from the current DCEU as we know it. This new banner allows multiple actors to play multiple versions of certain characters with no overlap. This sounds both interesting and very confusing. So we could see multiple people playing Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. That is...
Like we haven't already.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of the MCU kind of model at the moment.
I think that's the direction they need to go. They need to make fantastic self-contained stories.
Yeah, this could mean that awesome
and
stories
also
like...
it means that if there's two Joker movies with two completely different actors, if you don't like Jared Leto, there's always another option for someone to see.
Yeah. So maybe they're doing the smart thing.
Well, they got to do something, because what they're doing is fucking horrible. It's definitely not working for them.
Yeah, so...
I'd see it.
You'd see a Jared Leto Joker movie?
Yeah. Not seeing Suicide Squad, I think Jared Leto was my favourite thing from the trailers.
Dylan?
No. I don't care for this. I don't need to see it above the 15 minutes I saw of Jared Leto's Joker. Well, here's the thing. All right, to be fair, when they announced the trailer, he looked really cool in it. I was on board. I wasn't one of the haters. I'm like, I don't need the Joker and all these comic book characters to be exactly how they are from what I know. Do crazy things with them. I don't care. But when I actually saw the finished product, I didn't like it. So I feel I was open from the start, and when I saw it, it was just gibberish. It was like something that... It is literally like a background character from a music video that's supposed to look cool or something. There's a joke. You can fix him. You can fix him. He's the joke. You could fix him, potentially. I just don't see how. And he's just a meme at this point. He's literally just... He's damaged. Fucking hell. He is a meme at this point, though. There's so many... He's just a joke character, literally. Like Joker, but people are laughing at him, not with him. So whatever. I'm not against
who laughs with him?
Harley? His goons, because they don't want to be killed?
When you think about it,
people...
Joker was kind of the hero. Like, he was like the Liam Neeson character of that movie.
But they changed it. Did you like the original version? I much preferred the version of Suicide Squad where the Joker wasn't the Liam Neeson of the story. Yeah. Like, because they changed it so that he like saves Harley or whatever and all this other stuff. But originally he was gonna like push her out of the plane because he just wanted to see her die and all this. Like, he was evil.
Yeah.
In Suicide Squad, had they already had a history, or is this the first time they met?
Nah, they've got a history.
Okay.
Yeah. Shit movie.
Well, technically, Harley Quinn wouldn't be Harley Quinn without the Joker, then, would it?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not great either. Fuck her in that movie too. That movie is just terrible.
Jack Courtney's the best.
Okay.
Actually, he actually, if I had to pick my favorite character, it would be Jai Courtney. No joke.
He's a real person, not a character.
All right, the boomerang then. Fuck.
Okay.
Move on.
So Hugo Weaving is set to star in the first ever VR feature film, and it's Australian.
That's right.
So
Australia,
future leaders.
The Australian film is directed by Jonathan Ogilvie and is a modern-day adaptation of Joseph Conrad's 1907 novel, The Secret Agent, exploring themes of fanaticism and terrorism. Apparently, he intends to deliver a 2D and full-length VR version, allowing the film to claim the title of the world's first VR feature film. The production will use a cluster of lenses to deliver the VR effect, which will create a 3D 200-degree viewing environment that can be accessed through generic smartphone-mounted headsets. Is this something you want to see? Is this the future of VR? Is this going to be...
I'll watch it. If I can get it on PSVR, because I hate the phone one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I'm not buying... As long as I can use it, watch it, on my PSVR, I'm highly intrigued. In general, I'm intrigued because I like the idea of VR movies. And I would like to see what you could do with a feature-length thing. I've watched a bunch of the short films you can watch on PSVR. They're only short, like, animated things, but they're cool. The bunny one, that's cool.
The problem is, I don't think they use VR to its fullest extent, because you still... even though you're wearing the VR headset and you're in that world, you're still focused on the one spot.
Well, that's your brain just being attached to, I'm watching something, sit back, look, and the one spot. You know, you're trained not to look around to see what else is happening, which is the thing with this movie that I'm interested in, because they're filming it for both VR and non-VR. You need to film it in a way that the story is always taking place within the frame for the non-VR version. But then what are you doing outside the frame that's going to be interesting for the VR audience to be able to check out what's happening?
Have people juggling in the background, circus tricks, motorbikes through rings.
Yeah,
of
stuff
fire.
like that. There has to be enough happening, and that just adds. And if you think about what the frame would be, it's literally this tiny point of your view, like what, 90-degree space, you know, for like a full 360-degree angle, I suppose. So you've got to fill all that, which is more actors, which is more people you've got to hire, more background you've got
And
to
not
take
only
care
that,
of.
like if it's full 360 degrees or whatever you call full VR, like the crew have to be nowhere in sight at all.
Yeah, that's why they say it's going to be
Exactly.
200 degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's
So
not going to
you're
be full
looking behind you and
360.
stuff.
Either way, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Just because it's something
different.
interesting, so
Yeah.
something different, yeah.
So, yeah, it's being funded by Screen Australia with the $2 million budget. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's funded by Screen Australia. But I do have a $2 million budget. It should be sometime in 2019, I believe. So, yeah, keep your eyes out for that one. Do you think it's interesting that they're going to do a 2D version as well? And not just commit to the...
They're not
VR?
spending $200 million that they can't. Because there's no
I guess
way they're
there's not
making
enough
that money
there's
back
no
just
money,
on VR alone.
That makes sense.
And they're that safety net, so...
Yeah. All right, let's bring back everybody's favorite recurring segment, the only recurring segment on the show. Which would you rather watch? So what we do is we go to the site flickchart.com, and then it gives us 2 films, and we have to pick which one we'd rather watch through whatever criteria we decide at the moment. And if someone hasn't seen it, it goes onto our list of shame. So, first up, we have Apollo 13 and Jerry Maguire. Both of I've seen.
Seen both.
I don't know if I've seen either.
Really?
Is Apollo 13 the Tom Hanks one?
Yes, it is.
I haven't seen that.
Have you seen Jerry Maguire?
What happens to Jerry Maguire?
Show me the money!
No, I
With
haven't
Renee
seen that one.
Zellweger and the kid and the Cooper
Yeah,
Wooding
no, I haven't seen that
Jr.
one either.
Okay. Interesting. Well then, next up we have True Lies and Starship Troopers.
True
Seen
Lies,
both?
100%.
Seen both.
Yeah, I would also say True
So...
Lies.
I forget how it works. We pick which one we would actually like to watch
Yes.
for future reference.
Yes. Like I said.
True Lies, yes.
Okay.
It's my favourite Schwarzenegger and James Cameron movie.
Alright, next up we have A Bug's Life versus Gladiator.
Seen both.
I've seen both.
As have I.
Bug's Life.
Gladiator.
I would probably see A Bug's Life, like, day to day.
Day to day.
Like, I'd have to be in the mood to watch Gladiator, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've
Yeah,
discussed
yeah.
this before. Interesting one. Lion King versus Aladdin.
Aladdin.
I would say Lion King.
This is tough. I think
Two
Aladdin's more
classics.
enjoyable. I think I'd watch Aladdin.
Okay. I can live with that. It's a close
Well, you're
call.
going to have to, aren't you?
Yeah.
From Williams.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban versus Sex, Lies, and Videotape. I haven't seen Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Neither
I have not seen Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Okay, good. So we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban versus Kung Fu Panda.
Harry Potter.
I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda.
Holy shit, really?
Really?
Jack Black,
He
though.
doesn't watch animated movies, remember? So we're going to have to watch some animated movies.
Elitist.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban versus Carrie. I haven't seen Carrie.
What version of Carrie?
The
The
1976
original.
I
original.
haven't seen either, really.
Well, I haven't seen the remake, actually, to be fair.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban versus The Fugitive. I haven't
I've
seen
seen
the
both.
whole of The Fugitive.
What do you mean you haven't seen
I'm pretty
the
sure I've
whole
seen
of
like
The
half
Fugitive?
of it.
For
Like, it was on TV, I watched half.
future reference, I'd watch The Fugitive.
Here's a good one. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban versus Silence of the Lambs. We've all seen the
That was
That was
Silence
a
of the
movie
Lambs.
you watched last week. So I would pick Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
I would as well. I don't know if I'd just watch Silence of the Lambs on a whim.
I would. It's fantastic.
All right. Next up, we have Zoolander versus Meet the Fockers.
Zoolander.
I would also go
Zoolander.
Zoolander. Yeah.
Got the look.
Then we have The Mask against Catch Me If You Can.
I haven't seen
seen
Catch,
both.
Catch Me If You Can.
Sorry,
Oh,
Nick?
I was about to say I'd pick
I haven't
Catch Me
seen
If You
Catch Me If You Can.
Okay. Good movie.
Can. It's a good movie.
It's got Amy Adams. Young Amy Adams. That's weird.
Can't remember
Does
that.
she want a medal?
I think she does. The Mask versus Zoolander. I would go Zoolander.
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 Then we have Pulp Fiction versus 300.
Pulp Fiction.
I would also probably...
Pulp Fiction is the better movie, but would I watch it over 300 though?
I don't think 300 holds up as well as everyone remembers.
Yeah, I
haven't
think
seen it
I'd
in quite a
you haven't
while,
watched
so I'm
it.
just going off my memory.
Yeah, I'd go
If you haven't watched it for a very long time,
I think it's just those moments, like the kicking him in the pit and the...
everyone remembers the kicking and all that sort of stuff. Everyone forgets everything in between where they're talking on mountains and stuff.
300.
I'll go Pulp Fiction. Next we have Strangers on a Train versus The Prestige. I haven't seen Strangers on a Train.
Neither have I.
Never have I.
Have you seen? You've seen The Prestige though?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
So Prestige versus Knocked Up.
I would pick The Prestige.
I would
As
also
would I.
pick The Prestige. Yeah. Prestige pretty great.
I don't think Knocked Up
Underrated.
is a good movie.
Next up we have Ocean's 13 versus Good Will Hunting. I haven't seen Good Will Hunting.
I haven't seen
Oh
either.
my god. You just haven't seen Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
I haven't
Fuck,
seen
what a
Ocean's
movie.
13 either.
Ugh.
Nah, fuck that movie.
Okay, so we've got The Bourne Supremacy versus Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Born Supremacy.
Bourne. Yep.
Yeah, I'll go Bourne as well.
Is that the first one?
That's the second
second
one?
Oh, either way, it's better
Yeah.
than Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum,
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner.
Then we have Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest versus Casino Royale. I think we discussed
Casino
last-
Royale.
Yeah. Dead Man's
Which one's
Chest
Dead
is the
Man's
second
Chest?
one. The second one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
the
I'd watch that
Kraken.
over it, to be honest.
I watched Casino Royale.
Casino Royale's a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Holds up too.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off versus Unbreakable.
Fuck.
I
These
haven't
are two
seen
movies
Unbreakable.
I think I'd pick
overrated.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off
Yeah.
for reference. You think Unbreakable's overrated?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off versus Fight Club. I would pick Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I
So
would
would
pick
I.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Which it's so weird when you pick that over like Fight Club,
Bueller.
but that movie is that's you know how you always call out sick day movies? Ferris Bueller's Day Off is one of my sick day movies.
Okay. Die Another Day versus
Alien.
I haven't seen Alien.
Fucking hell.
Die Another Day versus Fargo. I haven't seen Fargo.
Neither have I.
Okay.
I tried to. I couldn't get into it.
Die Another
Ooh.
Day
This
versus
is
The
a
World
tough
Is
one.
Not Enough.
The world is
not
not
enough.
enough. Die Another Day shit after the first 15 minutes.
That's true. But he drives on the ice with the invisible car.
Yeah.
the end.
That's a great idea.
That's such a good start too, but just goes to crap.
National Treasure versus Twilight New Moon. I'm assuming.
I like to call Twilight New Moon a national treasure as well.
I unfortunately have
Nash-
seen both.
You
I
have-
have also I would pick National Treasure.
I haven't
So would
seen
I.
Twilight Saga. Sorry, I have not seen a single Twilight movie.
You're missing out. So Eclipse
National
is good.
Treasure is dumb fun.
And the first Twilight's good. And Eclipse is good. 2 out of the 5 Twilight movies are good.
None of them were good.
Now fight me.
I will.
Tweet at Viva La Dill. I think we'll end it on this one. National Treasure versus Knocked Up. I think I'd watch
National Treasure.
National Treasure.
Knocked Up.
National Treasure is
You
just
contrarian.
good dumb fun. So that's what we would rather watch. But Nick, what did we end up
Yes.
watching this week?
Leon the Professional.
Leon the
What's
Professional.
your name? Leon.
Yeah, starring Jean Reno.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's directed by Luc
Family
Besson.
was shot down by
Get my names mixed up.
officers.
3 kids.
Uh,
One of them is missing.
Yeah, Nick, this was your pick. Why'd you pick this
Find
one?
her.
Because I hadn't seen it before.
You hadn't seen it before. Well, I hadn't seen it either.
Solid picking.
Well, that's the intention of this show, to pick stuff and watch stuff we haven't seen. Which I have a lot of.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Pretty easy, just pick any movie. That's good. So Nick, do you want to give us your patented #Nick's mini review?
Leon the Professional. Great action scenes. I enjoyed the plot of Leon taking Matilda under her wing and developing a care and affection for her. It felt very genuine. Oldman played a drug psycho very well. I just felt very uncomfortable with the love subplot. 8.5 out of 10. #Nick's mini review.
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. I think
It was very weird, her falling
Yeah.
in love with her. And I don't know...
Do you think he was in love with her the same?
I don't know,
let's
but
just jump
the
into spoilers.
director is a statutory rapist.
Yeah.
So I reckon that's definitely an influence on the movie.
Was it prior to the film? I don't
Yes, before he came to
okay.
America. I think he was 35 and he was in a relationship with a 15 or 16-year-old and got her pregnant.
know. Cool. Dylan,
I've
what do you
never
think?
heard this. I'm like Googling this. I'm like, I've not heard Luc Besson. Even though I just found a story. It was only from May 21st. Luc Besson accused of anonymous 27-year-old is raping. Right? Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Of course. I mean, the answer is of course, because every Hollywood director is apparently a rape. Anyway, moving on. What do I think of the movie? I like the movie. I think it's a good movie. The first time I watched it, I think it is a bit uncomfortable and you just get that feeling because it's weird. But to me, he would never do anything with her. You know, like he's
Yeah.
No, I don't think he would either, but it's just very uncomfortable watching it.
Yes.
Especially the scene where she tries to seduce him.
yeah, but she's a 12-year-old girl who's lost in the world basically, and she's got this guy and she's doing what she's watched on TV that she thinks she's supposed to do, and like I think it's supposed.
Well, you
to be
see
all
her
that.
mother,
I mean,
or stepmother, I don't know what the correct term is, and her sister earlier in the film. Makes sense that she'd be that way inclined,
Yeah.
I guess.
I think it's fine because it's always just her pushing because she's like this lost girl, and Jean-Claude, whatever, I can't remember. I can't say how you say
Jean
his fucking
Reno.
name.
Jean Reno.
He plays the character of Leon so kind of like a
Simpleton.
a simpleton, yes. So he plays it so much like a simpleton and someone who, although he has love for the girl, obviously, it never comes across as he would actually do anything with her or he has interest in her sexually.
Yeah.
Like just because he plays that character as such a simpleton. And that's why I think the movie works and how that the whole implied her having feelings for him and the way he plays it makes the movie work. And that's such a plus to his acting skill also, because I think someone else without the skill, then the movie does fall into
it gets too
weird
awkward.
territory.
Yeah.
It gets very awkward.
It turns
without-
into a poster child for Mambler.
Yeah.
Ashley has no idea.
No.
Man boy
enjoyed
love
it.
association.
I think the first action sequence was a highlight of the film, and it doesn't quite. Nothing quite matches up to that.
I actually took a note from that sequence. The music in it was very similar to something else. Let's see if I can find the note.
It's a low budget film, also.
Yeah. GoldenEye. It was very similar to a sequence in GoldenEye.
Well, this came out first, so maybe it's the other way around.
It came out. When was Golden out?
96, I believe. This was out 94.
Oh, so it was out a couple years later. No. I think it's altogether, from all angles, this film is basically held together by the actors.
Yeah.
In that his performance holds together the character of Leon and makes that believable and doesn't make it really weird. Also, Natalie Portman in her first performance, she manages to
Incredible
portray
child
that
performance.
Yeah, it's probably one of the... I see a lot of people call it the best child performance ever. I haven't thought about it that much, and I'm not willing to like put my mark on if that's true or not, but it's definitely up there as one of the best child performances. And those two, some of the lines and scenes they have together, like, wouldn't work if they weren't as great as they are. On the opposite end, Gary Oldman is purposely just thrown into go crazy, you can overact, chew up the scenery, go
Everywhere!
Yeah, everybody! He's kind of this counterbalance to you've got those two doing quote unquote like serious acting as the girl and the assassin, and then you've got Gary Oldman that's brought in.
Oh, he is very big.
He's very big, but I think it's done on purpose to counteract the smaller, quieter performance that you're getting with Leon and Natalie, and then he comes in and he's huge, and he's not in the movie that much. He's in it a little bit at the start, and he disappears.
Maybe like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
He's 10 minutes at the start, and he disappears for most of the movie, and then he's only back in the end. But every time he's in the movie, he's very big, chews up the scenery. But at the same time, he's a very skilled actor that's chewing up the scenery and riding on that fine line of not going into this is just hilarious now. It is like, okay, he's a psychotic DA druggie that's like taking pills, and he rides it so well.
What is he taking?
It does like counter. It doesn't matter, does it really? It's like, it could be anything. Fucking. Yeah. But the face he pulls when he puts his neck up, he's like, crashes the tablet, and he's like, oh, Beethoven, fucking, fucking shooting people for the house. That scene's great when he's like running through, shooting everyone.
Also, what I really didn't like was no police force in the world would have a tripod-mounted fucking grenade launcher.
Little rocket launcher
This movie
thing,
is fantasy, I believe. There's so much. So the movie's set in New York.
Yeah.
And not at any point does it feel like New York. Just everything about it, the city, everything about this movie, the fact that there's no line between the cops and the bad guys. It's like the cops and the criminals are basically the same people, you know? Everyone that you see that's at the start of the movie, and then when you find out that he's actually a DEA agent, you're like, oh, maybe they're his criminal people. No, they all like work at the same place he does. They're brought in. It's a weird fantasy New York that doesn't feel at all like New York, and lots of weird things happen, and the fact that he shoots the gun out the window and they just walk off to another hotel, you know, like she does at one stage there. It's like so much weird stuff happens. It's like this weird fantasy New York that does feel very much more like a European city at times than actually an American city, just from the way it's shot and what they do, and the music and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's odd. It's an odd film. But
there's a couple of inconsistencies and odd choices. Like, she wears the same clothes for like weeks on end. Like, I think that's probably just a shooting budgetary thing. But then suddenly they pull out all these clothes so they can play dress-ups. It's weird.
Yeah.
That was an uncomfortable scene to watch as well.
Very.
Yeah.
Is it because...
Gene Reno does not do a good John Wayne.
He tries. Yeah. I don't know. It's. I think it's a good movie. It just has like a lot of a weird background, but like the performances, especially from Gene Reno and Natalie Portman.
Do you think if it was released today, there would be a fair bit of backlash against it?
100%.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also at the time it got a lot of, well, not a lot of backlash, but it got a lot of bad reviews. Like if you go look up, its Metascore is like pretty low. And a lot of people had off feelings about it if you read through any of those reviews.
Yeah.
And it's got this really low kind of Metascore and got odd reviews and people pointing out stuff, and it's got this weird behind the scenes stuff happening with Natalie Portman and her parents and all this other stuff that's happened, but it's like renowned among movie buff fans these days and sits on like the IMDb top 250. I don't know, it's just an odd film. There's so many parts of it that are really, really good, and then there's other parts where it's not, but overall it's still just really enjoyable and engrossing, and just the way it's shot and told, and then you get Gary Oldman come in, show up scenery, and Natalie Portman, as we were saying before, is probably one of the best child performances. So,
And Tony had zero intention of ever giving anyone all the money.
He was always going to keep the money.
Yeah.
yep.
Even though
Even to
just
Jean
taking
Reno, he
advantage
was
of
never
it.
going to give him all the money he owes him.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode of What Do You Want to Watch? Nick, where can people find you on Twitter? And more importantly, where can they find you on Trakt?
Lord and Prior, Prior.
Dylan, where can people find you at those two places?
Find me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADL, and Trakt also.
And you can find me at those two places at ASHLEYHMBLEY at the thing. You can follow the
Queenslander.
network at Explosion Pod on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitch if you want to see our React videos, which we're doing some trailers
Tonight.
this coming week. You can check out there. Or our review discussions, like what we did for Solo, you can find at twitch.tv/Explosion Network, or later on at youtube.com/Explosion Network, and always at explosionnetwork.com, where you can also find reviews like the one Dylan said he was going to do of Solo, but never ended up doing.
Well, look,
Read his review for Deadpool, though.
fuck off. I was been preparing for E3, and fuck all yous.
If you're disappointed in Dylan, you can always email us at mail@explosionnetwork.com, or leave an iTunes review with a 5-star review saying you're disappointed in Dylan for not writing a Solo review.
I'd make an Apple account for that.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please
No, it's
do.
not happening.
Feel free.
We'll hold you to it. So till next time, keep watching stuff, I guess. Hey, Ashley here to let you know what you need to know about the Explosion Network in June 2018. Pleasure Explosion is coming to an end on Thursday, the 21st of June. The Explosion Network's original podcast will play that signature guitar riff one more time as we retire the show at episode 69. Nice! If you have any favorite moments or questions or even random topics, it's Pleasure Explosion after all. Throw random shit. Tweet them at ExplosionPod with the hashtag Pleasure69. Or email us at pleasure@explosionnetwork.com. June means E3, so make sure to check out explosionnetwork.com for all our E3 coverage and react. Tales of Theldon's whole first season is now available to binge listen to. Is that even a thing? Our D&D audio drama is available at explosionnetwork.com, iTunes, and all other good podcasting services. Thank you to everyone who's listened, and if you haven't yet, now's the time. If you're watching Westworld Season 2 at the moment, make sure to follow our Twitch at twitch.tv/Explosion Network for Bevan World, our Westworld after show where we break down every episode. Watch live on Twitch or find it on YouTube at youtube.com/Explosion Network and podcast services including iTunes the day after airing. And of course, you can find all our other great podcasts, articles, and other explosive content like What Do You Want to Watch at explosionnetwork.com. So until next time, keep consuming our content, I guess?
I'm so surprised with this look, but I keep looking. I'm on my laptop, just like, look, Beth's on like 15-year-old dating. I didn't know any of this. It's like, what the fuck? They had a child. I didn't know any of this. Fucking hell.